Well, hello, and welcome to a live stream where we are about to get serious. This video is geared more towards young women that are getting ready to start their periods, but everyone is welcome to this educational video. So, when I was a girl, child, person growing up, these were the two options. You could use pads, always, all the time, or you could use tampons, which I will do a quick how-to demonstration. So tampon applicator, pop this thing down, and then it pushes up a tampon into your vagina, and this soaks the blood up for a little while, and then you're in trouble because it starts running down the string and kind of is potentially a mess. I worked long and hard to figure out a brand of pads that worked for me, and after, let's see, probably sadly about 13 years, yikes, I found that these always thin ones are what works best for me, and overnight pads make giant messes. So that's where I am with all of the options when I was a kid, which has been a while. But when my mother was a child, there was only one option, and it was to wear a non-adhesive pad with a thing that went around your waist, and it snapped in, so it held your pad in place. And that was the option. And now there are two options. Well, then there were two options. And now moving on to 2020, it's about to get real. I'll introduce these in the order that I found them. These are Thinx underwear, and they are, you can't really tell, but they're absorbent underwear, and they can hold quite a bit. They are pretty comparable to this, of how much blood they can hold in them. And then you wash them out in the sink, and then you run them through the laundry, and ta-da, you can wear them again and again, and they're very nice. And this is an option that I find to be quite useful, especially on light days, but you don't have to do anything. You can just wear black underwear or black pants or not, and free bleed. So that is an option. And I tend to do this on my lighter days, but some people are very much into the feminist movement and just will accept that there are blood spots that come out of our body. And kudos to you guys. I am just still somewhat embarrassed. I'm not nearly as mortified as I used to be. I will say, when I first got my period, I had a choir performance and I had to wear white pants, and that was pretty terrifying. And so I had a panty liner on, and I was like, okay, let's get off stage already. Let's go, guys. So let me move on to cups. Good morning. Hello. I first started with the crap. I think is this a Dixie cup? Yes, that's what this is. No, Diva cup. There it is. DIVA. And yeah, Dixie cups are those little things you drink out of. Yeah, you don't drink out of this. And this one, this is a little mini gross story, but this is the Pixie cup, and it came to me through Treasure Hunt for $1. I just tried it. I know. I ran it through the dishwasher. It was a little crazy. But I am a huger fan of the Pixie cup, which I found a bit later in life, than the Dixie cup. This is the smaller size of this, and this is the larger size of this. This is just available. I didn't buy the larger one, but this one is a lot more rigid, and this one is a lot softer. So I would highly recommend the Pixie cup over the Diva cup, because it just is a lot more comfortable. Even though this one's the bigger size, it still seems fairly comparable to this. Although the one, I will say, disappointing factor whenever I wear one of these all day is I only get about this much blood in it. So it's not, they're a little bit overkill, I think, which makes me wonder if you could actually wear a cervical cap. Although I researched online and it says you're not supposed to do that. I've never worn one of those. I did go to the doctor once. They are a semen preventer from entering the cervix cap. They're not for your period. But I was like, but I only bleed this much. So that seemed like it could be an option. But yeah, here are these guys. Pixie cup for the win. This is probably my all-time favorite, although I haven't used it in several months, because the worst thing about these is they're a little bit of a pain to get in there. You have to fold them up like this and then shove it all up in there. Sometimes lube is required or something to get them in there. And then they're great because you can leave them in for 12 hours. So overnight or all day, if you're like out rock climbing or doing something crazy, they're not a pain. except they are a pain in the butt. I'll be a bit too frank with you. I can't poop with these in. They either have to come out when I poop, or yeah, that's a little TMI. But one of the reasons I'm not the hugest fan of them. Also, this one has a, I guess a what are these called? A male in, and this one has a female in. That's sort of okay. I'll put them away now. Anyways, let's move on to something I don't like. Yeah, it's a bit of a thing. Yeah. So this is the Ziggy Cup. I Okay, there used to be these things that were menstrual discs, and they were disposable before the zero waste movement got really excited and on board. But the Ziggy Cup. So here's another TMI fact. I have talked with several of my girlfriends over the years about. I guess it's not exactly. I guess it's kind of vagina size, but we like talk about what size toys and different things that we use. And I am on the not smaller end. I'm more like the medium to larger range of things that I can fit in there, and this doesn't fit in there. So I yeah, that's if this doesn't fit in me, this won't fit in my at least 2 or 3 other friends I've talked to about this. So I don't know how this works. I have tried it 3 different times in earnest, and there's usually a disaster that happens when I try this. It just will not. It's supposed to. Is there a diagram? There it is. Okay. Theoretically, this fits all the way up in your vagina and it just sits underneath your cervix and catches blood. But for me, it gets about there, and that's as far as it wants to go. It doesn't want to nestle up in there. And then it also last time I just tried this recently again, it's very uncomfortable too because it's not in right. So I don't know. This does not go in all the way, but I used to use menstrual discs, which looked nearly identical to this, but they were a clear plastic and a purple outside, and they've discontinued these apparently. So I don't know. That's pretty disappointing, disheartening that this product is, yeah. So you paid, I don't know. I got it on sale, thankfully, so that's good. Let's move on. Oh, wait, we forgot one little bitty thing. These are exciting for me. These are a disposable tampon by OB. They are available at like most Walmart, CVS locations. They're a very tiny little box, and there's about 36 of them. So it's very low waste. And the biggest waste part of this is there's a tiny, can't even get it off hardly, little plastic wrap. And then you just put this thing up in your vagina and boom, it works like a normal disposable tampon, but they're smaller, they're more discreet. I usually keep one of these in my purse because they're very easy to use, but be sure to wash your hands before you use them. The public restroom thing of using these gets very difficult. So if I go to a public restroom, I have to wash my hands, try not to touch anything once I get in the stall, lock the door, and then try to get it out of my purse without touching most of anything else. It's a bit of a hassle, so it's a lot easier to stay home. Okay, but wait, there's more. There's even more. These are, I don't know what these are. I found them at an off-brand Dollar Tree place, and they are disposable underwear and a pad together. So it's kind of a diaper, but it's like a sexy diaper. Sexy awkward. So you have your disposable underwear with your disposable pad, which the cool thing is these were about 10 cents a piece. The bad thing is this whole thing goes into the landfill when you're done with it. So I don't know. I'm in this middle ground of like, this is great because I typically don't wear underwear. So if my period strikes very hard and intensely, I at least have something to turn to that I can shove in my purse, although it's a little intense. Maybe keep it in your car. And they work. But the one bad thing I did have, like I had some lighter colored leggings on, and then I wore that all day, and it did sort of rub against my pants, and it left a little bit of a trail through this part. But I mean, there was no major breakthrough bleeding, just a little bit of discoloration. So it wasn't a big deal. But I don't know. That's an easy on-the-go solution if you don't wear underwear typically. But now, moving on to right now my most exciting things I have tried. And let me drop a link for these guys. This is Organic Craft Store, and they are out of, I want to say, why do I want to say Romania? I don't think they're out of Romania. They are far away from the United States, but these are really good quality, and they're very, in my opinion, the prices are great, and she has lots of discounts on them. So these are reusable pads and tampons. And the tampon part really had me freaked out. I was going out on a limb to try this, and I love it so far. I've tried them twice, and I will keep trying them. So the other things I feel like I have tried the bejesus out of. I have tried and tried and tried. But you fold it in half, and then you just roll it up. And I did have someone online comment on another, when I unboxed these, that they said this is what ladies in the 60s reverted to doing because TSS was such a problem with Kotex and different products they tried because they put all sorts of crazy stuff in the chemically produced products, because that's what they do. When you don't make your own thing, everybody puts chemicals in it, so it was scary. But these are organic cotton, and they're very soft. Oh dear, I started unraveling it. I will say you need to trim your strings. I went to the bathroom the other day and I got this wet, and then I took it out because I'm like, yeah, I need to just not get toilet water on this. Yeah, so I was excited, and I also felt like this was almost a dam. Like it worked. It did absorb all the way down, but when I had one of these on, it did not start leaking down the string out into my leg area. So that was exciting to see. I was like, hey, I haven't leaked through one of these tampons yet, so that was cool. And the only downside so far I found to these pads is they gave me a little bit of chafing from wearing them all day. I typically tend to mix between products, try one of these, try some internal options, try some external options, so I don't get all worn out from like getting all chafed against things. And these are pretty exciting. They just snap around. Oh, hey, I have demo panties. Where did they go? Right here. You just put it on like a normal pad you would with the sticky stuff, but there's no sticky stuff. Bam. Bam, bam, and snap. Ta-da! Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And they're pretty absorptive. I had one on overnight, and I did not make a disaster mess like I tend to unfortunately do. Yeah, overnights are always messy. But those are a pretty good option too. I feel like there is no great option still out there. There's like some fairly good options, but it's still a bit of a pain to bleed every month. So hey, this one's for the girls that never had a broken heart. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck with your periods. The end. Bye.